Chapter 2, The Voice. Now that I had written my first poem, it was like I had opened up a floodgate. The voice was everywhere, not a definite voice, like something I'd hear from my mom or whomever, but a voice whispering parts of sentences to me, strange amalgamations of words that made new words, and juxtapositioning of everyday words so that they had different meanings and contextual ideas. The last few months, since writing my first poem, I had been trying to ignore the voice, but it plagued me. It was like I was being stalked. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. At 3 a.m., I wearily got up and went to my desk, turning on the under-bookshelf light. As upset as I was at having to be up this late with a voice in my head, when I took the pen in my hand, it comforted me. It was like a talisman. I felt the grooves in the skin on my index and third metacarpal from where I had been holding pens and pencils all my life. It was like I was tattooed with the calloused but tender badge of a writer. My hands and arms were necessary to my mental well-being. I pulled the paper out of my left-hand drawer and let my mind go. Blank. Come on, voice, I am listening. I must have been staring into amnesiac space, because time went by and I have no idea how long it was. But then the voice started. When asked a question, I did not answer, I only slumbered. To the bottom of the sea, I retrieved a box. I did not get wet at all, and the contents remained closed, though I knew them to be me. I was awoken by a voice, and asked how I did not get wet, by diving into the sea of a thigh slap. Was it all just a dream? But, I answered, when the poetess becomes one, no between of subject and object, all or none, then she dives without getting wet, she gets a box and knows its contents, she sleeps when asked a question, and answers best in inky silence. And an amazing thing happened after I finished. I felt good, no, great again, the voice was gone and I was able to get some sleep, not sure of the actual value of the work I had created, but certainly sure that it felt monumentally important to me. I drifted off to sleep, happy, thinking of 2 words I'd written, the poetess. I smiled into the soft baby's breath petals of a rich girlhood dream, and at that moment I knew, really knew, who I was. I'm the poetess. I read a Japanese koan that talked of a girl who found a box and already knew its contents. I read of a Hindu poem that mentioned that a king needs not meat or fruits, but rather, only to heal his mind with a poet's nutritional words. My head swooned at reading these things. I had to lie down. I lay there on my bed, my head swirling. I felt like many mirrors surrounded me and they were all warping, my reality was disappearing. How could I know to write these things that I had never even read about? How could I write of ideas that were over 3,500 years old? What comes through my hand naturally is so ancient, how do I have this connection? I couldn't answer, the world enclosed tightly around me and I fell asleep for 5 hours. When I woke up, it was midnight, and I was covered with a blanket. Probably Mom had looked in on me, she had been really great about me wanting to spend my summer writing and doing little else. She seemed proud of me. Dad did too, he was always bragging to anyone on the phone that would listen, that his daughter was a poet, to which I would always whisper, a poetess, Dad, a poetess. Poetess is the proper word for female poet. That seemed to make him smile even bigger and then he'd pull me near and give me a one-handed hug to his hip. I stretched my arms out of the blanket and bent them behind my head, cradling my upper neck. The mirrors were mostly gone, but by the soft glow of my green nightlight, I occasionally saw the fabric of space and time undulate. I got up and went to my desk, turned on the underhead light, and took out a folder with all my poems in it. Now that I had my eyes open to Oriental ways of thinking, I could see its philosophy in all my work. Then, something struck me from my earlier studies. Just what were those Indian muses called again? I found them in the encyclopedia quickly, Apsaras, the water spirits. I read, Urvashi, the most beautiful of all the Apsaras, is the source of as much delight as dolor. The revered sages, in one body, named Narayana, were once meditating so diligently, that Indra sent 2 Apsaras to distract them so that they would not acquire godlike powers. But, the sages struck their thighs and Urvasi was born, her being more beautiful than any Apsara. Narayana then gifted Urvasi to Indra, and they were allowed to resume their meditations. There it was, again. A mystery to me, and so powerful in its connotation. I looked back at the poem I had written 3 weeks earlier and read the strange words, "thy slap." I felt I knew who was speaking through me now. Urvasi, an Apsara from India.